Today on Detroit Muscle, we start our new Seafoam Camaro that one lucky viewer will have a chance to win.
We'll lay out our plan to get a baseline on the small block down in engine power.
Plus, some tips on restoring dull paint.
You know, Mark, a day like today is what muscle cars are all about.
Absolutely, man, especially when you got a 4-speed.
Man, we got a 4-speed, we got a deep set of gears, we got a cool sound set of pipes, and one heck-acious looking car.
Absolutely. 69 Camaro RS SS.
You know, it's gonna be kind of a sad day just to give one of these cars away, but I guess that's the plan, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, this car's kind of good to go the way it is. Why this car? Why'd we choose this one?
Well, you know, it's 69 Camaro. Who doesn't like a 69 Camaro? You know, it's sometimes hard to give away stuff people don't want. People definitely don't want this old girl.
Absolutely. Well, the real reason we picked up this car is because Seafoam has a brand new product called High Mileage. And we figured, what better way to show that off than a car like this? Since we were gonna do it, might as well give it away.
So, 4-speed's pretty fun, buddy.
It is.
I see why they call these old cars muscle cars. Now, I know you're not really a Chevy guy, but you know, the big three had their same variants of this car right here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there's nothing wrong with a Camaro. I mean, you know, you always tag me as being a Mustang guy, but I mean, I like all cars if they're cool, you know?
But do you really like Mustangs?
Not as much as you think I do.
All right.
Not as much as you think I do. I think this car is great. I love this car. It's not a big block car, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's not a big block car, but you know, it's still a whole lot of fun. Tell you, man, I need some of that fine dining. A good old bologna and cheese sandwich with some mustard and tomato would be so pleasant.
That sounds good. I would take a shriveled up hot dog from yesterday that's still sitting there on the rollers sweating.
Probably need to get some fuel too. You go, boss. I'm gonna go grab a few things.
All right, thanks. Hey, get me a beef stick, will you?
All right.
Remember earlier I mentioned Seafoam? Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. We're using Seafoam Motor Treatment High Mileage. It's a blend of cleaning and lubricating petroleum ingredients that can be used safely in all gasoline engines and with all gasoline and ethanol blends. It helps minimize long-term wear and prevents rough engine performance, especially in vehicles over 75,000 miles, like our 69 Camaro.
You ready, Hoss?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Here's your beef stick.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're driving.
Well, good thing I got a co-pilot so I know where I'm going. I can tell you where I'm going. Fun town.
Population 2.
Now, one drawback of a muscle car oftentimes is gears on interstate.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a low gear like a 410 or 411 in the back. That's great for going stoplight to stoplight, but if you're trying to make a long trip, well, there's the trade-off.
Yeah, and this thing is not going to be very fuel efficient. You know, singing about 3,200 RPMs.
Yeah.
Just running with traffic, and that ain't even passing people. That's sitting in a slow lane, watching people pass you.
Yeah, we barely got on the interstate here, and it's already begging for another gear.
Well, I'm at 64, and I'm at 32.
So,
let's go ahead and stretch her up.
all right.
It's got some response to it. I'm at 36 at 71.
Man,
Yeah.
this ain't gonna pass everything but a gas station at that rate.
I guess that's the reason why they put sweet sounding tailpipes under these things. That way, whenever you're on a long distance haul, at least you got some good tunes coming out the back.
Exactly. What else could you say about this car that's less than ideal?
Well, you know, cranking these old cars up in the mornings, giving it the old 2-pump jab, then the crank, and then another 2-pump jab and a crank. and then you gotta hold your foot on it to about 2,000 RPMs for 5 minutes. Ain't much fun.
Right.
You gotta babysit that thing. So switching over from carburetor to fuel injection would be a must.
Absolutely. What about the handling?
Oh, handling. You mean lack of?
Yeah. I mean, by today's standards.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Woo. This old girl sloshes you around a bit.
By today's standards, unacceptable.
Unacceptable. You sound polite.
A lot of people just don't know that. They think that 69 Camaro is just going to be, you know, top of the heap, but it was in 69. But today, 50 years later, it's leaving a lot to be desired, especially in the handling department.
You know, not only in the handling department, but the brakes as well. Earlier, I got in the binders pretty hard back there, and it was like there was a block under the brake pedal.
Right.
It was so darn hard to push.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely needs some work there.
yeah, yes, sir.
Don't go away. We'll lay out plans for our 69 Seafoam Camaro and then strap it to the dyno and see what the small block has left in it.
Now, after running a tank full of fuel through this old thing, I have to say I enjoyed myself and I only made Mark squeal like a girl about 2 different times. But that's okay, because that gave us an opportunity to figure out a few things that need some improvement.
That's why I have the blank slate right here. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we like about the car. 69 Camaro, can't argue with that. What else do you like about it?
Man, I dig this color. This garnet red is kind of a color that most people don't think of whenever they say, I got a 69 red Camaro. Most of the times they're thinking that bright lipstick red.
What else do you like about it?
I like this hood. It isn't the cowl induction hood that most people see. This one is really something to look at.
I like it. So here's where I stand on this. I like 69 Camaros. Wouldn't have one if it wasn't an RS, so I like the hideaway headlights, and I'd probably go for the vinyl roof as well. Other than that, I don't care about the color or anything like that, but I do like the color. It's a nice car, but that paint could use a little improvement.
Yeah, we can shine it up, but you know, that's just shining up paint.
Yeah, we'll get there. So we've talked about what we like, and it's not a very long list. What needs improvement?
Definitely under the hood needs some love, man. This thing runs fine, but we need to throw some horsepower at it.
Okay, so engine. You want more power. You want to keep the small block Chevy, or do you want to do an LS swap?
This one is perfectly fine. Let's upgrade it, not do the LS swap.
Right, I agree with that. Everybody does an LS swap. Why do we need to do what everybody else does? And plus, we've done plenty of them.
For sure, man. Let's do heads cam intake and fuel injection.
What else does it need if you're going that far? What about we take the engine out, send it down to engine power, try to sweet talk those guys into going through it just to make sure everything's good. We're going to be giving this car away. So instead of putting lipstick on a pig, let's make sure it's a good solid foundation. They go through it. Let's get them to put the heads cam intake on it. Then we can get it back here, get the EFI on it. While we're at it, maybe do a belt drive.
Yeah, belt drive, and let's address the cooling on this whole thing.
Okay.
Maybe electric unit, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Fans and all.
Yeah, that would make sense. Make it a little more reliable.
Yes, sir.
If we're talking about turning this thing from a restored or factory type car into a resto-mod, I mean, these are must-haves.
Yes, sir.
What else do we need? Is that good for the engine?
Yes, sir. But this thing, you know, it has a stick in it, so we need to keep it a stick. So let's put a 5-speed manual in it,
Trans.
or something with an overdrive.
Yeah, so then you keep the fact that it's a stick. You have all the benefits of a 4-speed, but with an overdrive.
Yeah, and with this car here, you can basically bolt one in it. You don't have to cut half the tunnel out and all that kind of jazz, so it just makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. And then where do we go from there? What are we missing? Suspension. We didn't even talk about the suspension.
There's a lot to be desired with this one right now.
Okay. Suspension, steering, brakes, that kind of thing?
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. And with that, let's start from the front and go to the back.
Okay.
One of these cars with the aftermarket support that's out there, complete front subframe. It bolts in with just a few pieces, and you don't have to do any fab work.
Right. So it sounds like a big job, but it's really not.
No, sir. The biggest job on suspension on one of these is in the back. This thing from the factory is leaf sprung, so the next step is taking this thing to coil over in the forward link. It's going to take a little bit of fab work, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
That's going to come with sway bars, front and rear, all that, right? It's going to be a completely different car.
Dude, this thing's going to handle like it's on rails. But Handling's one thing, we gotta make this thing stop too. So some big brakes, front and rear, 4-wheel disc is a must.
Well, if you do bigger brakes, those 14s aren't gonna fit on there.
Yeah, no, I hope we get like a set of rotors that are basically 14 inches.
Okay, so wheels, tires.
Yeah, wheels, tires. Now, a Camaro has to have the right amount of stance to it. You know what I mean? Something that's just dialed in right. So maybe 18s and 20s, wider in the back, of course. Something with a polished lip. I think that's where we need to go.
All right, well, I got a big spot right here. What do we put there? What did we miss?
Interior.
Oh, I
don't know about you, this is one thing that I normally don't think about. But after riding around in this thing for a couple hours, actually just sitting in the car with no support when we were, you know, straightening out them curves a bit, holding on will make you physically tired.
Right.
Something with some bolstered sides in it would definitely be a must. Carpet in this thing, you could say it's a little funky, so definitely could use some carpet at least.
So you get like sport seats for the front, while you have the seats out, put a carpet in it, cover the rear seat to match the fronts?
Yes, sir. We're not halfway doing the interior. This is too nice of a car. I don't want somebody to stick their head in there and go, oh, you got a pretty nice car. Oh, you cheaped out on the back seat, boss. So.
Cool. What did we miss? How about a graphics package?
Yeah. You could do something very tasteful, yet give it a completely different feel.
Cool. So that looks like a long list, but it's actually not that much. I think we can accomplish this pretty easily, and we're not gonna ruin the way this car looks.
All we gotta do now is order some parts.
Not it.
See y'all later. Time to go. We'll take the Seafoam Camaro down to engine power and push it to its limits on the dyno.
Well, we're down here in engine power. We figured we'd get this thing on the chassis dyno, see what this thing makes, just the way it is.
Man, everything's hooked up for the dyno, but I've got to say, this car is a little too nice to even mess with.
I know, it's like done already. And we've driven it, and it's an awesome car, but it's a 69 Camaro, and it's basically stock, you know?
Yep. Now, what's up with the engine? Do we know anything?
Small block, really all we know. I mean, it's a 350 car, but, you know, it could be stroked, could be bored, who knows?
I see a little Demon carb on it, and who knows, cam maybe, who
Possibly,
never know.
Yep.
But man, the interior, everything, it looks, it's a solid piece.
It's a cherry, yeah. What do you think it's gonna make?
265.
Yeah, under 300, I'd say 280.
All right, let's see what it does.
All right.
4-speed, right?
Yep.
All right. Hey, guess what?
What?
You got to be in the car to dyno it.
That's where I'm headed. Come on, man. All right, I'm gonna get some heat in it.
Man, you know it's having some fun in the shop time.
What kind of mufflers do you think those are?
The way it started, it sounded like a Duramax. It is pretty throaty.
Those aren't glass packs. All right, you good? Talk to me.
227,
Nice.
303 on power. Or I mean 303 on torque, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was at 3,450 RPM. So 227 on power, 303 on torque. And a whole lot of choppiness above about 4,500.
Really?
Some nice blue smoke.
Where did that pull end? Because I'm not trusting my tag.
Right at 5,500.
Okay.
Right at 55.
Was it already falling off, or do I need to pull it?
When you hit 4,500, the graph just started getting super choppy, and it was did you hear it and feel it breaking up?
Yeah.
And then you killed it at right at 5,500.
It's not lean though.
Huh?
I don't think it's lean.
It's a little fat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little fat.
I'll take that.
But I mean, make another hit on it just like it was, and just
So same range.
yeah,
Do
same
it again?
thing, same range. Then we'll at least have a Comparo.
Okay.
Picked up 4 on power, 5 on torque, 231, 308.
Yeah,
The
I
brake-
really felt it break up then. You could hear it.
Oh yeah, and it's following each other on the graph, I mean, to the T.
All right, gonna do one more.
Always got to do 3.
Might as well.
All right, they're all within a few horsepower, so I think you got a good baseline. Best was 231 on power, 308 on torque.
Okay.
It needs a little help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could do some tuning maybe to spice it up a little bit or try to make a little more power, but at this point, what's the point, right?
Yeah, it's got stock manifolds on it still. I mean, it's such a clean car.
Yeah.
So plans.
Well, we don't want to do an LS. I mean, that would be an obvious choice, but we think it'd be cool to kind of keep the small block Chevy in there.
I agree 100%.
So we want to stick with that, and beyond that, we're really wide open. We're kind of hoping that was something you'd be interested in tackling.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. Obviously.
Yeah, if we check the bottom end, you know, make sure it's good, maybe do heads cam intake.
Well, you know, when it comes to small block and big block Chevys, Pat is a diehard guy for it and a great builder for it. So yeah, we'll definitely take it. One condition, you pull it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Pull it out. Maybe do an EFI.
I like it.
Maybe something that we can keep. I'd really like to keep that air cleaner just because it's so iconic and cool looking.
Now, premise of the project is a driver. You're not looking for crazy power or anything like that.
Yeah, so the premise of the project is this is a stock 69 Camaro. You know, I mean, it may have a few mods, but it's basically stock, and we want to turn it into a resto-mod. We want to just cross the threshold into resto-mod.
Okay.
So we feel like we can accomplish that with a small block, put EFI on it, nice daily driver, something you could get in, turn the key, and drive across country in it.
Freshened up bottom end, some really good induction up top, keeping the manual.
Yeah, we're going with a 5-speed, TKO.
It won't be any problem to do 4 1/4 horse or so at the tire on this thing.
That'd be perfect, yeah.
Sweet.
Be a different
We'll get
car.
the motor out and get it to us.
Sounds good, thanks, man.
With our old Camaro, we decided to keep that original small block Chevy. But if you're looking to upgrade to late model performance, well, this may be right up your alley. This is a new Stage 3 525 horsepower LS crate motor from PowerTrain products. It comes with new GM LS3 heads with a multi-layer steel gasket, custom camshaft, and high-tension valve springs. And it's all wrapped in a 2-year warranty. So if you're looking for tire-screaming performance, you may want to check out PowerTrain products. Coming up, I'll show you how to restore faded paint to showroom new. We've all heard the term 20-footer. Now, our Camaro is a bit better than that, but I can honestly say that the reflection on this old girl needs a bit of some loving. Now, back here on the top of the fender, what I call the belt buckle area, it's got a little bit of some rash on it that we're going to have to repair. All over the top of this fender has scratches on it, and we can fix them. First thing you have to do is determine how deep they are. What I like to do is a fingernail test. Just simply rub across them, and if your fingernail catches on that scratch, well, you're going to have to do some sanding. Yep, we're going to have to sand this one. To smooth out that scratch, we're going to have to do a small amount of wet sanding with some 2000 grit paper. The reason for that is if we just tried to polish across that, well, you're just going to have a shiny scratch. And we're going to do better work than that. You want to sand with nice, smooth strokes. Don't use the corner of the block. Make sure you use the face of it, because you don't want to gouge out the surface that you're sanding on. Make sure to pay attention to how much you're sanding. Sand a little while, feel it. Once it's gone is where you want to stop. Also inspect the scratch. If the scratch is white, that usually indicates that the paint surface is base clear. If it's just a colored scratch, that could either mean you're all the way into the base material or you've got single stage paint. When making a repair like this, I prefer to use 2000 grit sandpaper instead of 15 or 1000. Yeah, it takes a little longer to do it with this one, but whenever you go to polish it, well, it's going to come up a lot faster. Looks like we're good to go. It's time to buff. To repair the reflection of our old Camaro and that spot that we sanded, we're going to be using some product from Sonax. Now, this process doesn't really take all that long, especially whenever you consider how great this is going to look when we're all said and done. Our first step is going to be using the Cutmax compound. We'll just use a couple of drops here on this wool pad, and then we can get started. Cutmax works really well on 1500 grit scratches and above. It cuts through quickly and safely, and it's silicone and solvent free, so it's great for you guys in the body shop. Man, yeah, that looks good. Now I just need to compound both of these ends, and then we can move on to step 2. Sweet. This next step is just as simple as the first. We're going to be using the EX0406 and a yellow foam pad. Both of these compounds are water-based, and what that means is they have a huge working window. Also, EX0406 has an abrasive that breaks down, that gives you that deep gloss look and eliminates that hologram effect. So, definitely doing some good. Woo-wee! Man, that looks nice. Now I just got to do the other side.
After Tommy was done polishing our Camaro, I took it over to get the graphics put on. We wanted something that was clean yet classic, so they added a two-tone hockey stick stripe down the side of the car that matched the original stripe. To keep with the theme of our build, we chose colors that tie into the Seafoam high mileage can, and we added a subtle decal in the back with the Seafoam logo. Well, here it is, and I have to say the guys at the Wrap Lab did an amazing job, and it's now officially the Seafoam Camaro.
And you guys remember, we're giving this thing away when we're all said and done with all these modifications we're going to be doing to it. So what do you think's first?
I think I need to dig in and get that engine out of there.
About time you get your hands dirty.